I want to go to Derek in Philadelphia.
Hello?
Hey. Hi, Derek.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
It's like such a relief to actually talk to you guys. You understand it's a very lonely position to take as an atheist.
Yeah, I bet.
And especially a black atheist.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, being a black atheist, it's a very confusing position because you're you're kind and you're wondering how certain fundamental things about Christianity you aren't questioning.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you realize that nobody reads this book. Nobody reads it at all. They can't, or they just take, if they're given a test, it's probably just on a certain book or something or a passage. But nobody is really taking it seriously.
Having some beer or wine helps.
Not thinking about it and just accepting like certain phrases like Jesus is my Lord and this and that.
Right.
It's very easy to gloss over details.
Yeah.
And, even when I was little, I think I knew about dinosaurs. I accepted dinosaurs before religion was actually pushed on me. And one of my first questions was, where dinosaurs at in the Bible? And, you get nothing.
Well, I know lots of Christians turned atheists deal with that kind of childhood skepticism without a lot of support. Why do you have any speculation on why it is that it's particularly tough to be a black atheist?
Oh yeah, because we have been so fucked up. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
Okay.
It's all right.
The censors don't really watch us that carefully, but
I'm sorry. Yeah,
but how so? How has it been messed up?
Yeah.
Oh, the brainwashing.
Who's doing the brainwashing?
From my experience, what you need to really take from the African American in America is a textbook example of how you can really screw people up. The history, everything that's been done, the brainwashing that still continues. It's a textbook example of how you can jack everything up about people. I mean, we're lost.
Are we talking about like going back to slavery and some kind of permanent damage was done at that point, or what?
Yes, that is very permanent because just take this for example. A lot of European Americans can trace their history back to Europe. And they can go back so far and really cling to their pride and cling to something. What I always said about slavery was it totally wiped our history out. We don't know what we were for real. Our history, because nobody bothered to really keep particular records. It's like keeping records on cattle.
Right. I'm sure a lot of times slaves were illiterate, and I mean in most cases, and the slave owners just didn't care that much.
Exactly. I mean, who cared about tracing you back to Africa when you're here in America working for me as like a plow? So I care not about you. Why would I even trace you back? Who kept the records? Nobody. So you come to America and you start from zero, basically.
But this was a long time ago, and one of the things that concerns me about what you're saying is it. Don't get me wrong. I think that the blacks in the United States have suffered a lot and have been given the short end of the stick a lot. But I'm kind of having a dialogue with you here. You almost sound like, okay, there's like this conspiracy, or there's these people out to get the blacks and to brainwash them. Who's behind it? I mean,
no. I actually don't think now that today anybody is out to get black people in particular. What has happened is the hatred that is residual between blacks and whites. It's really not based on anything except for just behavior that has rippled from the past. But it shouldn't be there anymore. And if we could all clear our minds and like really cling to the fact that hey, we're just both human, and these differences that we're saying between each other, that was from an argument long time ago, which we've tried to repair throughout history over and over and over again.
So it sounds like there needs to be a reset button today. Where when the blacks are brought over, when the slaves are brought over, they sort of lost their history. Maybe it'd be a good thing today to lose the history, right, and start fresh.
Yeah, I would really like that.
Derek,
I would really love to press the reset button. It's
it's hard to do.
One of the issues I was saying is that one of the differences that I've noticed between blacks and whites is the ability to pass on assets to generations.
Black people have that ability too. It's just that they're starting from sort of a cultural disadvantage as far as having come from a situation recently where there was a reset button pressed, so that like has maybe ongoing effects about who tends to have who tends to start out with more assets, because
well, people don't like to give up their privilege, and we see that with Christianity today. They have a lot of privileges, like prayer in school or invocations at various events and things, and they don't want to give that stuff up. Right, it's a big battle when there's a church-state separation fight. So I see that there. I see that maybe that's human nature to want to keep the privileges you have.
I want to ask you something specific though, Derek. Would you say that there's anything that the worldwide atheist community could be doing better to meet and address the needs of black atheists? I mean, have you got anything constructive that you could help out with?
Well, how about the fact that Christianity was not our religion before we came over here?
But
would you want to go back?
Black religion.
Would you want to go back to whatever that?
No. It's a good way to just reset. I mean, if you don't accept, whatever tribal religion it was we had over there, or if it was a tribal religion, I really don't know. And that's one of the problems, is that I really wouldn't even know what religion we had over there. But besides that even being affected, it was just the fact that your slave masters gave you this religion. Mm-hmm. This Christianity was not something you fumbled on yourself.
Well, the way I heard it is that the blacks, when they were released from slavery, they had gotten some indoctrination in Christianity as slaves, but when they got released from slavery, they wanted to be like the big guys, right? They wanted to have that religion and these sorts of things. That's how it was explained to me. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's this weird thing where it's almost like a Stockholm syndrome. You want to be like your captors or empathize with your captors somehow.
I can totally see that happening. I mean, especially if you want to. Basically try to be accepted as a person, and you see that they take this seriously, then you may want to take it seriously too. To finally fit in America, in a sense.
I mean, but it sounds like part of the problem is maybe that there's not a wide enough support group because black people and atheists are both minorities, and so when you combine those two, it's doubly especially hard. To come out and find your group.
And not just that, but there's so many black people that are theists or claim to be theists that it's like standing against the group. You're like really the odd man out. In so many areas, nobody wants to really accept that label, and it's such a hard thing. I came to realize that because I realized only in the last few months from listening to you guys show that.
Derek, I can't keep you on for much longer, but I'd really like to help you hook up with other black atheists. So I'm going to recommend you check out a couple of sites. I want to plug the Black Free Thinkers, who originated as the Black Free Thinkers of Atlanta, but have spread around. So look that up on the web and see if you can find it.
It's a fairly new national group. Right?
Yeah, they're national now.
One other thing I wanted to ask you guys, so far as with atheism, the way that we kind of go about explaining ourselves, I think a more realistic approach to coming at a lot of people that are theists would be actually the job of the scientists, in the sense that people don't respect other people's jobs so far as engineers, people that can get rockets into space. They don't disrespect that. But when the theories come down to it and the hard work that these scientists put in to find out this information and this data, and
yeah, science is hard work.
Why is it not respected at all? I don't get that. I just don't understand how, somebody just off the street could say, I don't believe that, and it's like, well,
I think you see more of that in the United States than in other countries. There seems to be an anti-intellectualism that's pervading the United States that I think is very disconcerting, and I think that's part of it, that the scientists don't know, or the scientists just have an opinion or whatever.
Yeah,
and so there is a lack of respect, I agree.
It takes a lot of different approaches. Like, you would like to think that you can just tell people, here's the science, now educate yourself, you dumbass.
But they tell you in the cell phone and a computer, and it's funny, because it's like, okay, that's the same thing. Like,
right.
But that's the science that got that there for you.
Yeah, but I'm just saying people don't always respond well to that because they're didn't always become Christians for intellectual reasons, and they're not necessarily going to be talked out of it for intellectual reasons. And that's why I personally feel that a social movement that meets the needs of various different members of the community is important. Right. And that includes like specific outreach to black atheists.
Yeah, so if you're going to jump out of Christianity, you have to have something to jump into, right? That sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like you to check out the Black Freethinkers, and I'd also like you to look up my friend Ian Cromwell, who runs a blog called The Communist Manifesto.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time. I don't I want to let another caller get in. So,
all right.
Thank you, guys.
Nice talking to you, Derek.
Nice talking to you guys. I hope to call in again.
Take care.
Okay, bye.